everyone. Welcome to another episode of Critical Critique Pause on Point. Today we've got Lolly and Ellie, and we're going to be covering Freeman's Shield Hero video.
Very disappointed that I missed the last one. That was
the Devil's Drawings. Yeah, so we people are probably going to be wondering, oh, why aren't you doing the Kobayashi? Oh, not the Kobayashi, the fucking Konosuba. The Konosuba one that he pumped out as a response to people in the comments. We might do that one, but since it's mostly just, you know, him rambling for like 10 minutes and being kind of stupid.
Not like us, we don't ramble at all.
We don't ramble at all.
yeah, of course not.
But yeah, we might get around to that one, but since the Shield Hero one is more recent and it came out, a couple of days ago, I'd say, we figured it's topical, and yeah, why not? We'll see what his take on Shield Hero is, and if it's if it's funny or not. I've already watched the video. I've got a few problems that I'm going to point out. One of them is very early on. Yeah, I guess without any further ado, I will start the video in 3, 2, 1.
I can read a lot of the comments before they're even written. That it's less about substance and more about just being fun. I love those. Just toying your brain off. Why can't you be more like your cousin Johnny?
Gee, I don't know, Aunt Diane. Maybe because Johnny is a fucking retard.
Rising of the Shield.
Okay.
That was funny.
Yeah, but it wasn't him. It was Demo.
yeah, it was Demo. Like,
and here's a problem I have: is he's clearly putting that in, sort of as both a response to the Konosuba critique that he gave, as well as it's a very weird, almost appeal to authority type thing. It's like, this guy said the thing that I agree with, and it agrees with my point that I made, that you shouldn't turn your brain, and that means I'm right. And except Demo did it way better, and he wasn't as like with Demo's point, you know, of.
And as somebody who's watched both Umaru and Konosuba, you weren't doing the whole turn your brain off thing during Konosuba, because there was a lot of worth to that show that wasn't with Umaru.
Yeah, and I think that the idea of, you know, it's just fun, you know, turn your brain off, whatever. Like, I can understand that as not being a very valid excuse to, you know, brush off a critique of it. However, again, it doesn't apply, and it feels really weird that he's put that demo clip in there, because it feels to me like he's just going, oh, but guys, see, look, the guy I admire and I'm trying to imitate, he said the same thing.
And the guy that you like.
Yeah, the guy that you like said the thing that makes me right. And it's like, no, he didn't. He didn't say that. He didn't say a thing that makes you right.
It'd be funny if Demo D came back with a video praising Konosuba, and
that'd be fucking amazing.
Just breaks this man's soul.
Just to spite him, because clearly the guy really likes Demo, because he seems to be copying Demo's style quite a bit. So yeah, let's continue.
Well, before we really continue... sorry, maybe it's just the video quality of Crunchyroll, but that shot that we paused on looked really bad. Artifacting, blocks, etc.
It could be that, and it could also just be YouTube being YouTube.
I can see YouTube and watching YouTube, etc. But I can see some blocks in the shirts of the slave trader.
Yeah.
For instance, right now.
Yeah, it's probably YouTube artifacting combined with wherever he ripped the episode from, but whatever. Let's keep going.
Largely standard, and despite starting strong, sort of fades out towards the end. Oh wait, I'm doing this all wrong. It's not about substance, Jerry. It's just funny. Your opinion isn't fact. You can't judge comedy. Comedy is subjective.
He's
different
not
strokes
mad at all.
For different folks.
You're mad, not me.
So he opens with Demo, and now he's trying to make Demo's point, but worse. Because he's just being sarcastic. in being all
and being very salty that people didn't agree with him.
He's being very smug, very salty.
Look, he has to channel his kind of passive aggression that, like, he lives in a place where his bed has, like, a towel instead of a proper blanket.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, yeah,
I know we shouldn't do personal attacks, but, like, okay, so, like, he was basically accusing everybody who was, like, either, you know, into Lolly or into Maid Dragon as being a pedophile, like, last step, or during her whole thing. So, like, I think, because if he's going for low blows like that, I think I can go for a low blow. That'd be pretty funny.
I'm not gonna stop you. I'll denounce you, but I'm not gonna No, I'm not gonna denounce you. But yeah, let's get to the end of this segment, and then we'll comment on the segment as a whole.
Turn your brain off and accept the product. Accept the system. Accept the system. Accept the system.
Never! And I'm sure a lot of people did have fun with it, and that's fine, but I did not.
Oh, I don't think he's fine at all with it.
I mean, like, again, he's doing the same thing. He's why are you trying to make Demo's point but worse? And why
is he misusing Demo's point as an argument for him? Well, I probably think that Demo wouldn't really agree with this method.
Yeah.
Because he sounds just annoyed and angry that people didn't agree with him. Well, Demo didn't like a show and anticipated that people who might have liked the show and put a defense against it.
It was Demo who said, "I don't. Some people might like the show and that's fine, but I didn't." That's not what Freeman said. Freeman has never said that. He's always been, if you like this show, you're either, you know, like in Kobayashi Dragon Maid's case, you're a pedo, or you're an idiot if you like Konosuba, right? He doesn't have that same sort of class that Demo has, where he can at least say, yeah, you know, I really don't like this, I think it's kind of stupid, it's turn your brain off slop, it's really bad, but hey, some people like it, I don't. Fine.
Hey, he's just pretending to be retarded.
Yeah. And also, the use of the NPC meme there is also very fascinating, because it's, again, he's...
Didn't he denounce that meme in the first one as being edgy?
I don't know. That's what I mean.
I didn't catch it.
The problem with this dude is that I can never tell if he's actually being legit or if he's just trolling. I swear. Like, I can't tell if he's trying to be serious in these videos or if he's legit just a fucking, this is all some massive troll. It's really fucking weird. But that whole segment was really terrible. Really, really terrible. And I think that you should not be smug and you should not be cocky like that unless you actually have something to be smug about, which you don't. So... yeah.
But Demo agrees with him.
Yeah, but Demo agrees with me, guys. That means I must be correct. It's like, no, don't appeal to authority is not good. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't go, oh well.
Unless they are in real authority, but that's not the case.
Well, at least I mean, I don't know. Even then, appeal to authority is not an argument, right? You don't go, oh well, I think this, and a scientist agrees with me. That makes me correct. No, you have to make your own argument to prove why you're correct. You can't just go. Oh, look at big science man over there. That big science man agrees with me. That makes me no. You don't do that.
Yeah, you can use that to back up your point, sure, but like that can't be your whole argument.
Yeah, if you use it as a backup and go, oh well. What I'm saying is backed up by these other researchers who have researched the field and done work and such and such.
That's not the case with Jerry Boy.
It's not the case with Jerry Boy. He's just saying someone more popular and more talented than me said something that's vaguely similar but not the same. That therefore I'm correct, which is not an argument. tap into my inner Stefan. It's not an argument.
Oh, no.
It's not an argument, but yeah. All right, let's see what his take on Shield Hero is.
This is for the Rising of the Shield Hero episodes 1 through 21. I'll explain why. Without getting into spoilers, Shield Hero establishes a story that effectively ends at episode 21, and I honestly can't see them expanding past this with worthwhile content. Long story short,
right,
if you watch a show to see
Yep.
He sounds more disinterested than Demo.
Yeah.
Well, Demo sounded like more of neutral or maybe even also disinterest. He sounds just like he doesn't want to be here.
Yeah, Demo always kind of had a very specific cadence to his voice when he was talking about shows. And it wasn't like... Yeah, he definitely sounds like he just doesn't give a shit.
He's established that he just doesn't like the thing he's talking about, so...
And in terms of Shield Hero itself, I'm caught up with it, so I've watched up to episode 21. And I've watched.
Well, not the light novels are way further.
Yeah, obviously, but like in terms of the content that he's talking about, I've seen what he's talking about is what I'm getting at.
But I find it very, I don't know, self-centered. Maybe another word is better. Where he says, I don't see another way how this story can continue from this point, from episode 22, I thought he said.
Yeah,
but
21
the story
onwards,
yeah. 21 onwards. But who cares if he can't see how the story might continue? The story did continue.
Yeah. I mean, if he...
So who cares what he thinks about it?
Yeah, exactly. And I guess... Before we continue, I guess I'll just say that my opinions on Shield Hero, the anime, is I actually don't necessarily disagree with him in that the start was really good, but it has tapered off quite a bit. I will agree on the point that Shield Hero has a very strong opening, then it kind of sort of drifts a little bit, and it's kind of gone a... I wouldn't say it's terrible, but I think it's gone from being really good opening to this is kind of meh. It's not amazing, but it's all right. It's not too bad. So on that point, I can agree. However, his execution in presenting that point is terrible. So let's continue.
Villains suffer and you get your wish 4 episodes short of what is supposed to be the finale, then you have to ask yourself if that's enough to keep you going. And unfortunately, that antagonist kind of carried my entire interest for the entire show, so in my case I just cut it off. I'm still going to be watching it for reasons we'll get into, but I can't see them working in as strong a conclusion as the one we just got. So
that's probably because they are most likely going to make another season.
Well,
I mean that's not guaranteed. That's not guaranteed, obviously. But let's be real here.
It's the problem here. From I can't see. I don't really care what he can see, etc. The fact is, there's this character who gets introduced who is very connected to the waves and who is rather strong, and that hasn't been resolved at all by episode 21.
No.
So there is a plot hook, a follow-up.
And I mean, even in the most recent episode, we've been introduced to 2 new characters that are very different than other characters that we've encountered. So, again, it's all well and good for him to say, "Oh well, I can't see it. I don't. Personally, my investment is gone." But that doesn't make the show bad. It makes it bad for you, maybe, but not, on an objective scale. It doesn't make it, bad. So, yeah, let's keep going.
So let's just pretend it ended for now, and if they can walk away with a fantastic finale that really blows your socks off, then just ignore this video. Spoilers from this point out. Naofumi is a Japanese teenager that gets sucked into a fantasy world. Story of my life. Alongside 3 other Japanese teens from different versions of Japan, in order to help stop a demonic invasion, being designated the Shield Hero, as the 4 collectively made masters of a certain armament. Soon after, though, Naofumi is ousted as a sexual predator after a woman named Mine frames him for rape and has him publicly shamed. Story of which sends him on a path of the underdog to clear his name and survive this perilous world. Shield Hero is one of those shows that hits the annoying spectrum of being so okay that it's difficult to say anything about it other than, it's alright. It's not a very rewatchable show at all, it just sort of exists. It feels a lot like an MMO where you'll get to level 10 but then forget it exists entirely about a week later. That's what Shield Hero.
So, again, I don't necessarily disagree. I think Shield Hero is kind of meh, but at the same time, I think
it's better.
I mean, like I said, it's really strong start, but when it got to about the midway point, it sort of tapered off and was kind of like, this is enjoyable, but I'm not as into it as I was at the beginning. However, again, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't see where the problem is here. I don't know if any of you have got any comments on it, but...
Well, I kind of disagree. I think, the opening is very strong. I think the middle is pretty good as is.
Alright.
It shows... It's more of a... showing what the other heroes are up to and how they're mistaken in how they handle it. Like, I forgot all the names, so I'll just refer them as their weapons. Sword Guy wants to be a video game hero, so he slays some dragons and other dangerous beasts, I assume, not thinking of the consequences. Mr. Bow Guy sees an evil dictatorship and,
Mr. Bow Guy wants to seize the means of production.
Mr. Bow Guy sees an injustice.
Viva the revolution! Okay, I'm sorry. I'll let you continue.
Yeah. So Mr. Bow Guy disposes of an evil dictator without considering the consequences, and I think Spear Guy is different in that
he gave a seed to a village thinking that it would solve their food problems.
Yeah, so Spear Guy isn't really in it for himself. He does some heroic things, but he's very entitled. I did good things and I should be rewarded for it. And let's not forget that he gets all his ideas from Manye.
In the very abstract sense, as in I'm drawing parallels to this, and I'm pretty sure the author didn't intend. From what you said with the good actions that the other 3 people kind of enacted, that sounds like U.S. policy in Africa and the Middle East.
Yeah, but I highly doubt that would be the case because Japanese were.
No good deeds goes unpunished.
Yeah, but yeah,
and just to finish up. So the point of those episodes is basically showing how the other heroes are misguided. In various ways.
And I don't have any particular issues with that. I think, I don't know, I just feel like the kind of quality kind of takes a bit of a dip, primarily after they encounter the really strong fan lady. I think after that point, for me, was when it started to kind of go a bit downhill. But again, it's not like a nosedive, it's more kind of like a slight slope. Like, it's not... I'm still enjoying the show. I'm still having fun with it. I just think that the sort of first half was a lot better than what we've got in the second half.
And not to extrapolate too much from one episode. I think the episode 22, the one after the conclusion of this the arc of the underdog, Shield Hero, the underdog, I see some real potential with more interaction with other people.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
With his name cleared.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's continue.
Not terrible, it just sort of fades out. I will give Shield Hero the benefit of the doubt though. It has by far the most engaging first 4 episodes I have seen in isekai in quite a while. And although it pretty much failed to capture that same magic later on, I can appreciate the show's opening act as its own miniature movie. In fact, I think it's the same approximate length. The way Naofumi's character wraps up there is so perfect and so true to his desire to be a great hero that it's borderline criminal they thought they could top it, which kind of ties into how the other heroes see people in this world. I can engage with his struggle, I didn't have to suspend my standards of anime to justify him, and honestly, there's just no...
I didn't have to suspend my standards of anime to justify him.
Like he has a separate standard.
It's a very interesting statement.
Sounds a little bit xenophobic. A little bit against the anti-Japanese. Like they're somehow special in a negative sense.
Yeah. It's interesting. Let's keep going.
Better way of exploring a world than from the bottom up. He's by far the best isekai protagonist I've seen out there. Unless you can dig something up from before Sword Art Online that somehow really knocks my socks off! Sorry, I've been watching kitty videos recently.
You guys, look, I'm naked. Yeah, made you look.
It's also difficult to consider someone like Raphtalia receiving...
Pause. I hate to pull a Bio Gundam, but he specifically asked about an isekai anime from before
2012.
From before that time period. First of all, he falsely uses Sword Art Online. Secondly, Visions of Escaflowne is widely considered a classic. Like, both visually and in terms of storytelling. Like, again, this is just kind of my problem with a lot of Anitubers. They clearly haven't watched much before 2010.
Sorry, my brother's bloody ringing me up. I'll give him a text. Keep
but, like,
going.
okay, like, imagine you were, and this is just... Since we're going with standards, let's talk about standards for people who claim to be critics of a certain medium. Imagine a film critic that would have never gone back and watched anything by, like, Kubrick or Tarkovsky or Kurosawa, or dabbled a bit into the silent film genre to see the origins of a lot of things. You wouldn't give them nearly as much credit as the guy who only, like, you know, does what like Vox or whatever does, and only watches like things that come out in the theaters as they go.
Yeah. Alright. Let's keep going then.
Better character writing from the kind she had in those episodes. It may take women in anime entire seasons to develop and grow as a person, and sometimes not at all, but Raphtalia manages it in a couple episodes. Her establishment and progression is outstanding. She's adorable, and I can rest easy knowing that I can love her design and also appreciate the depth of her character, whereas in other isekai it's basically just a cute design. Oh my god, I miss the 80s. Nonetheless, these...
Can you keep springing up, Demo? It's like, can you be any more fucking, like, I don't know, obvious about it? You know, he's not even being subtle. He's not even being subtle about the fact that he's...
He probably only watched Gunbuster because Demo told him to watch Gunbuster.
Probably. Like, it's really weird. But yeah, let's keep going.
First 4 episodes were fantastic. Easy 9 out of 10. Great writing, great characters, and a wonderful introduction overall. After those episodes, though, things start to get a little slow. There's a lot of filler and stuff that might be mistaken for filler, despite being called back to later in the show. Raphtalia develops
one sec?
Yeah.
This is basically repeating himself for a second time.
Yeah, a little bit.
And if you listen to the tone of his voice, it's not at all the boring, not wanting to be there. The show is bad, guys. It's he sounds somewhat normal. Maybe he forgot he did a voice for it.
Yeah, maybe.
Just listen to it when the video is unpaused.
for Naofumi because it's an anime, and a bird lolly joins the ride because it's an anime, and the two fight over him because it's an anime.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
There's also a lot of instances where Naofumi just constantly wins. You don't get a good sense of what's at stake or stumbling on the path to victory. It's a lot of, here's a problem, uh-oh, but wait, here's its weakness. And
right, by the way, you saw how he appealed to another authority there as well.
Again, the issue is that he's not that's not his own point, right?
Also, on the aspect of not asking questions about things, the entire thing about him complaining about the filler or the slice of life aspects of certain types of anime is that, especially in Japan, there is kind of a little niche for conflictless storytelling, as it were. It isn't my forte, but I understand why it exists and, why it's there.
You mean specifically just general slice of life, or really the...
Like slice of life, or...
Iyashike.
Yeah, Iyashike, or what we would call cute girls doing cute things, TM.
Yeah, there's different things sometimes, but it's good enough to lump them together now.
Yeah, but that's kind of my point. Unlike Red Letter Media, who definitely deserves to make that little joke statement about the Star Wars fan base or the Marvel fan base. This guy probably doesn't ask questions about the things that he watches too much, or the origins of certain tropes or whatever, or certain, he just watches things as they come out and claims authority.
Yeah, it's a bit of a problem. And and I will say though, I do agree again, the point of Naofumi being a bit OP and just solving problems via solving problems. Although I would argue that with some of them, like specifically the dragon, he solves that problem via use of something that causes harm to his team. Right, so it's not necessarily a full win. I think with the plant, you could argue, yeah, he just whips up a poison or whatever. But I actually think that cause it was a while ago when I watched the episode, but wasn't he working on the poison before?
It was an extension. I believe he was just experimenting with his shield. He found out in the episode before it that he could make potions stronger, or he could enhance potions.
Yeah, so I vaguely remember that. I don't know. I could be misremembering. So again, might be wrong.
He did a dragon, and afterwards he did a plant, and he cured some people in the dragon village by making stronger potions.
No. The dragon came after the plant because Raphtalia was injured, and he had to go back to the capital. He had to go back to the capital. So the timeline was that the plant came first, and the thing with the plant, I'm trying to remember if he was developing the poison to use on the plant before he encountered it, because I just vaguely remember that, but I could be wrong. So
I just maybe we should end it here, but I remember that he discovered he could do something with
that was the episode before the plant,
and then he could sell potions for a higher price, and then he thought, well, could do something with potions now, and then he came across the plant. I think that's the way it went.
Yeah. So to cap it off, although I think that could be a valid criticism. I think you could say Naofumi kind of is a bit OP and he just solves problems. Some of the time, in some of those examples, he did actually have to either sacrifice to solve the problem, or he had to work, or via his work he managed to solve the problem. So it's not necessarily the idea of like a Mary Sue, where it's like, oh well, I could just fucking smash through a bunch of starships because reasons, right? The show sort of explains why he is the way he is. So anyway, let's continue.
and then it's over. Why does this keep fucking happening? Sometimes there isn't even a conflict. Naofumi walks into a village, heals their sick, and then everyone's happy. It's very exciting. Also,
it's like, so?
He's back to his boring sounding voice.
And also the concept of, oh well, it's boring. It's like, so it's downtime, right? Like you can't be.
And of course, clearing the villagers doesn't fix the dragon, which is the cause.
Which is what happened was he went, and the villagers were sick, and he tried to ease the villagers' suffering, and then he found out about the dragon, and then he went to solve the problem. Right?
Yeah, the inciting incident was... Okay, so this guy also doesn't understand basic storytelling. So, the inciting incident was the villagers getting sick. He goes in to, cure the villagers, see what's up, and then he discovers the whole thing about the dragon. Yeah, this guy doesn't understand how stories get from point A to point B on a very basic level, and he's really smug about that.
There really wasn't, outside of the one episode that I think I brought up in the last video, where he helps the guy get the medicine to the village so that he can cure the grandma, right? Outside of that episode where he first kind of realizes that he can boost potions and that kind of thing, he doesn't really... There's not really an episode where he just specifically goes somewhere and just cures people for no reason, and that's the only thing that happens. Usually it's like, again, an inciting incident. He went to the village that he heard was having problems, right? He went there, figured out what the problem was, solved it. Or it was a case of, okay, the inciting incident for the other one was he bumped into a guy on the road who was trying to get potions to the village to help his grandma and help the other villagers, but it was a different village in that case. So yeah, I feel like that's a bit of a iffy standing criticism there. So yeah, let's keep going.
Can we talk about how fucking insane we're getting with the Berserk imitation? Like, sure, getting corrupted in a digital world, I get it. Big flashy red effect, very cool. And I'm sure it's a great story element for the epic fights and shit, but... no.
Okay, but the issue here is, yeah, you could say it's inspired by Berserk, maybe, the idea of the armor. But the thing is, the idea of corrupting armor is not necessarily something that's limited to Berserk. It's a concept that's been around for quite a while. Berserk was not the one that, necessarily came up with the idea of your armor/weapon/thing that you use corrupts you, right?
Fable had it.
Yeah, like... I don't think that it's a concept that,
is exclusive trademark rights
of Berserk.
To Berserk.
Yeah, and I'll give him that in the context of anime, or the context of, the author, right? The author could
Japanese media.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. In the context of Japanese media, you could say, right, it's inspired by Berserk. Right, and the armor might have some similarities to the Berserker armor, but again, what's the problem with that? It's not a direct rip-off. If anything, you could say it's an homage or a callback, or influencing
its own spin.
Right? So, yeah, I have to disagree with him there on that. I don't see... Again, my biggest issue is that I don't see what his problems are, and he's not explaining why... the things that he takes issue with are a problem. He's just stating, well, I don't like this. I think this is bad. And then he's just kind of leaving it at that. He's not extrapolating why it's bad. Why is it bad that Naofumi's armor looks a little bit like the Berserk armor? How is that a bad thing? Right? That's what I kind of want. So, let's continue.
We see the unforeseen ramifications of the other three heroes' involvement in this world, but while Naofumi is basically finishing the job and saving these people, the show leaves a lot to be desired in terms of conflict. The best thing I can say is that this doesn't feel like filler. It flows pretty well from one set piece to the next, and a lot of what they do isn't necessarily pointless to the overall story. And we also get some shit with Mine trying to fuck up Naofumi's life, so we don't forget who to hate, so I can at least give it that.
まさかいやさすがにでもフィー
Content idea claims incoming.
Speaking of the heroes, this is something I actually liked.
I don't know why you just left that clip in there.
You find it funny?
I guess, but why have the whole clip with no commentary or...
Because he found it funny. That's what he said.
I guess. But anyway.
The three heroes are pretty entitled. Their whole attitude towards this world is treating it like a video game, and unlike Naofumi, they think doing something good in the short term will lead to good things in the long run. It's kind of like accepting a single quest to fight Moonbrook, Defias, and Westfall and thinking the threat is over. Yeah, the world won't end, but you'll never get to fight the leader of the Defias. And unlike Naofumi, that gives the heroes a very utilitarian view of the world. They don't see humans, they see NPCs. They don't see experience, they see EXP. Yeah, they rhymed. Naofumi had to start from nothing, so he sees people as people and treats them accordingly. I don't know, is that supposed to imply something about isekai protagonists? That'd be pretty funny, actually. But now that I think about it, mine doesn't have that great a motivation. What, does she just want power? Oh no, I guess...
So... Again, we mentioned, I think, before about the entitlement of the other heroes. I think that's not inaccurate. So again, again, it's weird. It's like I don't disagree with his assessment.
It's like, but it's wrong for them to be entitled or something.
No, I don't think that's what he's saying. I think he's just pointing it out. Like, he's kind of just summarizing and going,
yeah,
well,
but he points it out and leaves it there, does nothing with it, and moves on.
That's the problem, right? He's making these statements, but he's not actually going into... Oh, like, if he had gone, okay, so the heroes are entitled, and I think that's a good thing, because in most isekai, the protagonists are entitled, so it's a play on that the people that are not... Like, again, I'm just fucking spitballing shit out of my ass, but, like, you could make a solid point there as to why having the side characters that are supposed to be the other heroes being sort of references to other isekai heroes and how entitled they are when they are inside the fantasy world would be a good thing. You can make that argument, but he's not making that argument, is the problem. Anyway, let's keep going.
She doesn't have to be that complex, especially in what is pretty much just a revenge story, but it would have been interesting to have a character with better traits than being power-hungry and a compulsive liar. She just had to be a bad guy, and she served her purpose, I guess. But that leaves a bit of a problem. By the time she's actually trying...
One sec before the trial, I think she has some goals, because if maybe he forgot, but Manye is maybe the firstborn, but she is in second in line.
Yes, I believe that in the context of the story, she was demoted from the what's the word for it? Successor to the throne due to her personality, I believe. I think it's a little bit of a weak reasoning, and I feel like there's maybe more to it, right? There's a little bit more going on there. But, again, I don't really think that it needs to be that complicated. Again, it's like he said, right? Like, some of the most, a lot of characters' motivation is power for the sake of power, right? Like, a lot of character motivations for a lot of characters is that. It's not...
Well, I kind of disagree. It's a kind of convergence of motives. You got the king. The king is rather selfish and doesn't want the heroes to be in other countries, so he summons all 4 heroes in his own country.
And he wants of the world. And he wants to protect his own family. Is another thing.
Yeah, the rest of the world be damned. I want all 4 heroes here.
Which it is hinted. It's hinted in the show that something happened to his family in the past, which is why he is doing the things that he's doing now. However, it hasn't shown off what that was. So clearly, there is a bit more of a motivation for the king. We just haven't been shown it yet.
Then you have Manye, who is second in line, but wants to be the successor again. So she just wants to kill the second princess, the successor to the throne.
in a sense.
And then she works with the church, and the church is the Church of the Three Heroes. The fourth hero is a devil and a heretic and a demon worshipper and all kind of bad stuff. So the church wants the shield hero dead. So Manya works with the church to kill the fourth hero, whilst I would assume gain the backing of the church to get rid of the second princess, who is currently the successor to the throne.
Yeah, that sounds sounds like an accurate assessment.
All the while, she supports the king's efforts to get the four heroes in this country, because that focuses more power on her side, on near her.
Makes yeah. I'm pretty sure that's an accurate assessment. I could be wrong, but
so in just that sense, you got a lot more moving parts and more conflict, more motives than just she's evil for evil's sake. She not only wants power, she has some. If I'm right, of course.
Yeah.
She has more reason and has thought this more out than just I want to kill Shield Hero because that gets her power somehow.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I can agree with your assessment. I think that's quite that could be an accurate interpretation. I just feel like he's making points but not actually making points, right? He's saying things but saying not a whole lot. So let's keep going.
Right, for her crimes, the show is basically over. I mean, there's this long-ass confrontation with this church thing, and the queen shows up like, okay, time to wrap up the story, and basically everything just ends happy. I can't say it wasn't satisfying, but I also can't say it felt like the best thing ever. It was cool for like a few minutes, and then I stopped caring, because that's Shield Hero. It doesn't challenge or revolutionize anything, and whatever strength it had just sort of gets lost in the drudgery of isekai storytelling. It has a really great premise, and it's fun watching it through the first time, but a week later you're...
It's a good question. He doesn't really talk about that, does he? Sounds like a bit of a buzzword to me. But anyway, we're almost there.
Struggling to describe it beyond, oh yeah, that was good. Look, I'm not saying Shield Hero is bad in any faculty. In fact, I think it's pretty impressive to see so many women not be literal prostitutes in anime.
He is all these things. It sucks. It's trash. It has no reason to continue. It's really bad. You got the first 4 episodes. Afterwards, it's not really worth watching. Second time he repeats himself. The beginning is strong. The other episodes are okay. Now he's going he's going to talk about the entire show. Now he says it's not bad.
It's not bad.
I don't. If you just take everything he said in the review, it's like it's IGN. It's unplayable. It's 7 out of 10.
Yeah, it's 7 out of 10. Too much water. The review of Shield Hero.
Yeah, too much Shield.
Again, he also has this really weird sex negative view, right? He's like, oh, at least the women were not literal prostitutes, and I'm like, what? Okay, like I could agree with the idea of, oh yeah, sure, like if he's using Sword Art Online as his reference, where all the girls just kind of fall for Kirito, and they, he develops the harem of Kirito, right? Of all these girls that want his dick. Sure, okay, maybe. However, that's not necessarily the case in all other shows, right? Like,
let's take ReZero. There's only one girl that likes him, and he doesn't like her
because he's a fucking idiot.
No, he's choosing personal growth over complacency and waifus.
Yeah, sure. But anyway, and then you could look at other shows like, what about Overlord? Would we say that the female characters in Overlord are literal prostitutes?
2 of them are. One of them is unfortunately hard-coded.
One of them is the thing is, he doesn't actually say what he means. Like, is he talking about the sexualization of the characters, or is he talking about
that's
the
probably
aspect?
What he's talking about, because they're not literal prostitutes.
Yeah.
Then it's basically one, which is Albedo.
And even then, she's still her own character, and has her own motivations for doing the things that she does, and it's
sex bad.
Yeah, it's sex bad. It's sex bad. No titty. No fan service. No, can't have the Wamens disrespected in my animes. We must respect the Wamens. Is basically it. So let's see if we can cap this off.
And it's also fucking outstanding that the main character is an actual character, and the soundtrack is probably the best part of the entire show. It's legit amazing. Big shock.
Hit it, Johnny.
Content idea claims incoming.
It's good. It is a good fucking tune though.
But compared to all the hype around it, I don't think it's that special overall.
Yep.
There's this one really fucking annoying thing that AniTubers tend to do. It doesn't matter if it's Digibro, it doesn't matter who the fuck it is, where they will find one show that people like, or just one specific thing that they will claim as like their hill, and they will die on the hill of hating that very specific thing.
Yeah, it seems like
regardless
is this dude's hill.
Digibro does the same thing with the Fate series. I mean, I understand why they do it. It's for fucking clicks. I mean,
yeah,
but Christ, that's annoying.
and it's a thing, right? Like, why would you feel the need to bash Konosuba in a Shield Hero review? You're not talking about Konosuba. You're talking about Shield Hero. What is the
Konosuba
point?
Has excellent OPs and ADs, especially the ADs. I find them better than both OPs and EDs of Shield Hero.
Well, it's been pretty obvious throughout even just his review of this that he's really, really proficient at the cherry picking skill, as it were.
Yeah, and I don't know. I like the OPs for Shield Hero. I think they're alright, but yeah.
More than Konosuba's OPs.
Well, you have to remember I haven't watched Konosuba, so I don't. I would have to watch it and listen to the OPs.
I find off a little off topic. The EDs have this nice nostalgic quality of going back home, and it's what the EDs also symbolize.
Right.
Just
I think you might have,
on the way back home.
You might have linked them at one point. I might have watched one of them. I'm pretty sure, because I vaguely remember listening to one of them at some point. So yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah. So let's see what his final point's gonna be.
It falls into the same gobbledygook as Goblin Slayer, Tanya, Franks, and the Slimy Sekai. Strong start, weak finish. And just like Last Reflection said about 10 years ago, because I'm a hypocrite, endings are just as important as beginnings. Maybe the actual one they have in store will make it a little more worth the investment. Watch the first 4 episodes, enjoy product, and drop it as soon as they start looking at eggs. It doesn't get better. Should you praise Shield Hero? No, not really. Maybe the soundtrack. Should you play Shield Hero? Totally. Not a bad show, just vastly overrated.
And we're done.
Press play?
Oh, well.
Well, that kind of confuses me. No, sorry.
Yeah.
Pause. No, press play question mark? Does he mean press play to watch the show?
He's just kind of oh, it's a video game review, ha 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 ha.
Yeah. It seems like a deliberate misuse of words.
There's no delivery on the joke, so that's probably why Ellie didn't get it.
Yeah. So, how do I feel about this video? I think best way I would summarize it is I agree with the assessment of some of his points. However, he does not explain why for anything. He just sort of states the point. He goes, well, Shield Hero, the bloody other heroes are entitled. Okay, what does that mean? Is that good? Is that bad? What's the point you're trying to make here by stating this fact, right? Right.
Yeah, it has not. It didn't have much of in the way of qualifiers. Where the beginning is very strong. All right, I know it's strong. I watched the show. You know it's strong, Naruto.
Yeah.
Lolly, you don't know it's strong. So why is it strong? Why is after episode 4? Why is it weak?
Yeah.
Why if the episodes following episode 4 if the episodes following episode 4 are meh, okay, pretty good, and stop watching after they buy an egg, all at the same time.
Yeah. So, I think that's kind of where I'm at. I think that he's clearly trying to copy Demo. He clearly looks up to Demo and admires him. However, he
should read his own script to get rid of these inconsistencies.
And he should stop appealing to authority. Definitely stop doing that. Make your own argument. Don't rely on someone else's argument to bolster your own in terms of this kind of thing, right? You have to make your own argument. You can't just go, well, Demo said don't turn your brain off, so that makes me correct. It doesn't work like that.
He never said how Konosuba is about, turning your brain off.
I think you will have to watch his Konosuba video.
Do I want to though? Because holy crap, this guy is such.
Not really.
This guy is such a braidlet that it doesn't. Okay, look, the Maname guy from the other video. At the very least, he has potential. This guy doesn't have any potential because he's. Yeah.
At least the
self-absorbed.
At least the Maname Matt guy was at least somewhat original, right? He has his own format, even though I don't like the format. Right? He has his own format. He has
for all the shit we gave him about
for
his,
all the shit we gave him,
and his reverse Hitler thing he had going on. At the very least, his presentation wasn't annoying.
Yeah,
he had his own ideas, which were very wrong, but it are his ideas.
It was original, right? It wasn't trying to copy someone else. It wasn't trying to imitate a certain style or someone else's type of video, and it wasn't obnoxious like Freeman's videos tend to be, because again, he's attempting to copy a certain style of humor and he's failing at it because he doesn't understand it. He doesn't get why the bad dog clip works, right? You have to kind of think about it. And I could go into it, but it would take half explain a bunch of that shit. But it's
why don't you try?
Okay. Okay. So the bad dog clip works because you start off with I can't remember the exact context of when he clips to it in the review, right? But based on the clip that I posted a clip of it in the chat a while ago. But the concept is that Demo has a kazoo and he's kazooing the theme of the show. He opens